born in Launceston, Tasmania. My family come from Flinders Island. The Hobart as a base has been where I've pursued my craft, and Mum has taught me the cultural art of the shell necklace stringing, more particularly in the last 15 or so years. Yes, she thought it was time that it was handed on, and it was enough of me helping her collect shells and doing the easy bit. I had to learn the rest. Making traditional shell necklace, as far as our family's aware, has been happening for centuries. The necklaces were made as gifts, so traded with other tribes in the annual migration, so traded for ochre and perhaps food, and given as to recognise special people. Necklaces were generally worn by important people. And then coming down through the times, they were given to the explorers. It's something that's been handed down through our family for as long as any of us can remember. And as children, we grew up knowing that our grandparents, grandmothers and aunts made these necklaces, and we, as children, used to go help collect shells and never thought much about it. And my grandmother talked about in the 30s, 20s and 30s, making these necklaces and selling them to the local shopkeeper on Flinders Island to buy food. It was a staple way of earning a little bit of money when times were hard, and many of the women on Flinders Island done that. And it was sort of just a practice that the older women kept going. There was no value per se. They weren't often, it was hard to get a sale. You just made them for pleasure. So in the later years, the last 20 or so years in particular, it became, we all became aware, including museums and etc., that there was only a very few women who knew how to make these necklaces, how to do the whole process. So the mother, so my mother and her sisters, began to realise they needed to teach their children, their daughters, how to make the necklaces. Even today, there's only perhaps 6 makers. And so we're really conscious that the whole art is in danger of being lost if we don't continue the practice, but also being really mindful of environmental concerns. We don't want to destroy our collecting areas. They are quite small in area and tend to be the same place each year. Generally summertime you start your collecting, so you're looking for low tides and if possible spring tides, so very low tides. And we have to remove the fish from the shells. So we let nature take its course, and that takes 3-4 months. When you get to that stage and you've taken the skin off, you grade them, you put a hole in them. So that's about perhaps 8 months later, you're ready to sit down and actually make a necklace. These are the shells that you'll see Truganini and Fanny Cochran-Smith wearing in the old photos that they have of them. Each family has patterns that have been handed down really subconsciously. It's never been stated that you have to do this pattern. It's you just tend to follow your family's patterns for the traditional work. Whilst I don't have any factual evidence, but I've seen necklaces made out of wombat claws, and that really, really impressed me and it really stuck in my mind, and I thought, I'm going to do the same thing with the kidney quills. Over a few years I sort of tried to work out how to do that, and devised various ways to make a contemporary piece that was as traditional as I could make it. I had to apply to parks and heritage and wildlife. Echidnas themselves are protected and you can't touch any part of them alive or dead, and so I got a permit to collect the roadkill, which is very unfortunate, but it's so over the last few years I collect any echidnas I see that have been killed on the road, and the process is I just take them home and bury them and let nature take its course, and that takes about 8 months. Dig them back up and there's just quills left then. The value definitely lies in the cultural context, the story behind them, the traditional behind them, and value to the general public is the story. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't appreciate, but many do.